All right. Hello, everyone who is already joined. We will wait for 2 minutes to let everyone else join as well. And then we will kick off our presentation. So see you shortly. All right, guys. Bye. All right, then. I think this is a good time to start. Welcome everyone to Omdena's workshop on how AI can revolutionize diplomacy and governance. We hope to impart through this workshop the potential and the scope of AI applications in diplomacy and governance, and we hope that this can inspire people to adopt AI more and also maybe build some more cool AI implementations. So before we get into our presentation, let me give you a brief sort of introduction of Omdena and who we are. So Omdena is the world's largest AI development network. We have more than 20,000 AI professionals in various fields who are working and creating cool AI projects in more than 80 countries around the world. We work with a lot of SMEs, startups, NGOs, anything under the sun, and designing more than 650 real world solutions and counting for them. How Omdena does this is we split our sort of our pipeline, our talent pipeline into three parts. We start with our local hubs, our impact hubs. These are chapters we set up in different cities around the world. And here we educate people, we upskill them in the field of AI, as well as giving them the resources and support that they need to use AI to foster technological innovation in their local areas and create uh, solutions that can bring about change, right? The next level, we have our innovation challenges, which are done by our top talents. These are people who have collaborated with us in the past and done a very good job. And these are more comprehensive projects that take a very specific problem and we try to create the most innovative AI solution for it. On top, we have Omdena Elite, which is where we do product engineering. That's us working with organizations, SME startups, and designing an AI tool or an AI system for them. Um, for whatever they need. And we have our grassroots AI program, which is where we collaborate with governments around the world to set up AI infrastructure in their country and spread the knowledge, the skills that are required to build AI, and of course the data sets and everything, all the resources that goes into creating a robust environment where AI can be encouraged. So at Omdena, we emphasize the human element in AI. There's a lot of chatter, there's a lot of talk of how AI is coming to take away our jobs or is coming to reduce the amount of work we overall do. But like we believe that humans should always be at the center of AI because that's how the nuances and the real scenarios that we face in the world can be properly translated into an AI model. We want AI to improve the work we do, not replace the work we do. And to that end, we believe that humans should form the core of AI. So that's our core philosophy. And as I said, we've worked with dozens and dozens of you know, governments, NGOs, SMEs, you name it. We have several active partnerships right now, and we hope to bring on many more. So, with that in mind, let me pass it on to Branka Panic. Branka is a senior advisor at the Data Innovation Lab. She worked extensively on the case study that we're going to cover in today's workshop. She's also a founding director for of AI for Peace, which is an organization that encourages AI implementations in the field of international diplomacy and international peace building. She's an expert in political science, international security, international policy and peace building. So we couldn't find anyone more suited to conduct this workshop, and we brought her on. And now I will pass it on to her.
Thank you so much, Kunal, for your lovely introduction and also for this review of Omdena. I have to say, I had the pleasure to work with Omdena for many years now. I think since the very beginning of the organization, and it's really a pleasure to see how the organization was growing and how much you developed the entire ecosystem around the different applications of artificial intelligence. I just had to smile when I saw this list of different various organizations. So this is a really good signal to see in which direction the field is going. I will share my screen now just to guide you through several slides, and I will try to be brief. Please, Kunal, help me with this to give me a signal after 10 minutes or so, because this is such a huge field to talk about AI and foreign policy, but I'll do my best to put something in 10 minutes to give people some sort of a primer introduction to this huge field that just started in a way using or looking into the artificial intelligence. And we are doing this as a data innovation lab, and I'll tell more about the organization at the very end. I first want to give a sort of a big picture. When we started doing this work, because the data innovation lab is based at the German Ministry of Foreign Affairs. The Foreign Affairs is not new to this organization, of course, but the entire ecosystem is much bigger, right? It goes across the entire world. So we wanted to see on a global stage, where is this intersection between artificial intelligence and foreign policy, and to see it historically as well, right? Although for many, it seems that AI just appeared with ChatGPT or with this revolution of generative AI. It's actually an entire field that started much earlier, and we were not surprised that foreign ministries noticed that as well, and the foreign policy as such. However, at the very beginning, this was still just a topic for something that is happening outside of the ministries that the foreign policy professionals just started being interested in. And we and other researchers in this field, so we mapped different papers, different research studies and work of different ministries. We realized that there were three main topics that the foreign policy professionals were interested in, and the audience will not, I'm sure, not be surprised with this, because at the first place, the countries are interested in economic opportunities as well as risks. As Kunal mentioned, this idea or perception that humans will be replaced in their work, or in other direction, thinking that humans can be and their work can be improved through the use of this technology. So automatically, countries through their foreign policy channels as well started looking into AI as an economic opportunity, where the investments are, where they need to put more investments, where the competition is starting, and who is participating in this global competition about taking bits and pieces of this economic pie in the AI domain. The second one, again, not surprising, is the national security domain, and the countries naturally, with their foreign policy work as well, started looking into different military applications or applications for protecting their national security. And still, this is a very, very strong area where countries are predominantly interested into exploring the applications of AI. And the third one that came very early on, even before AI, I would say, when we were still only in the digital domain, the country started looking into potential impacts of these technologies on democracy. This is especially visible, I think, in this year, 2024, because half of the world will be entering the elections. This is a very unique year, I think, in our history, that so many countries are going in these in the elections. Some of them already finished in the first half of this year, where countries are predominantly foreign policy experts looking into how AI, I think my impression is that the majority of this discourse is negative, looking into the negative consequences through misinformation, disinformation, hate speech, manipulation of election spaces, of free speech, of democracy, of electoral procedures, but also more and more actors looking into the positive applications of artificial intelligence, right? How can we defend our democratic systems through the artificial intelligence? And then
Sorry to cut you off here,
yes.
but can you reshare the slide? I think the slide stopped moving.
Let me do this.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Quickly, sure. Thanks for catching this. Can you see the slide now? Perfect.
Now
Thanks, Rasha.
Sure. Now it's the first slide, so maybe you can try sharing it, and yeah, we'll confirm if it's moving properly. Yeah.
Well, I am moving. Can you confirm? Can you see now?
No.
not
It's still
yet.
yeah. No, I see only the slide.
Slide.
The first slide. Yes. When you share.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
interesting. Let's try doing this again.
Maybe try sharing your entire screen.
Okay, can you see it now?
Okay.
Yes. Now
Are you in slideshow mode? Oh, you're on the second slide, right?
Let's see. Yes. Can you see now the last point? I'm at AI as a tool for foreign policy.
That's correct. Yeah, I can see that.
Perfect. Good. So this is and I just ran through the first two, we call them first two stages in the development of this intersection of AI and foreign policy. And I think we can share, we published a paper for anybody who is interested to read more about these first moments when foreign policy practitioners started being interested in this field. And what we see now as a sort of a third stage of this development is utilizing AI, or at least perceiving AI as a potential tool for foreign policy, either a tool that is already ready to be used externally, or even more exciting, the tool that can be built inside of the ministries of foreign affairs for their specific needs, right? For specific diplomatic processes, for negotiation, mediation, or we will see more I will go now through more practical examples where we see that either organizations who are partnering with ministries of foreign affairs are developing something, or where ministries themselves are trying to do something. So this one, can you now see my next slide, data analysis and situational awareness?
I
No.
think the slideshow mode is glitching out. You can just stay outside of slideshow mode, maybe present like this.
Yeah, can you let
bug.
me then do only this? Can you see it now?
Not
Okay,
in slideshow mode. Are you?
Let's keep it out of the slideshow, Kunal. If it's not working, I can just keep
then
it
it's
like
fine.
this
It's
so
fine.
people see. Anyhow, I don't want slides to be the distraction. This is just like a short 10-minute overview. I'm sure I will pass the message even if you don't see the slides, but because I love
Perfect.
visuals, I tend to share a story through visuals as well. and also shows some screenshots of the projects themselves. So if people are interested to actually go to these websites and test some of these tools. So to go back to the first application that is more, I think, the most natural for the foreign policy practitioners, because the data analysis, the situational awareness is the essence of the diplomacy work and the foreign policy work. This intelligence gathering, right? Trying to understand early on what is actually happening around us and having more accurate signals from our surroundings, from other countries, from the global multilateral system, and so on. So this is the first obvious application, and I think probably the earliest one in the domain of artificial intelligence and foreign policy, where the machine learning, data science started being applied to analyze these huge amounts of data that we are processing now, that we have a capability to gather, and that ministries, not only ministries of foreign affairs, but other ministries are gathering on a daily basis. So either I put these examples of global trade data, predicting market trends, assessing the impact of different economic policies on international relations. But what we see more and more is foreign policy is going beyond economic analysis, right? And especially exciting for me is this area of, because I do work predominantly in the peace building field as well, is getting other insights and getting these overlapping insights from different spheres. I'm mentioning the climate data in specific countries, and especially Germany in their foreign policy, and are interested to see how different natural disasters or climate change in general are now impacting different policy, how this data needs to be adopted in different policy decisions, and how policies need to be changed in comparison to that. So the AI systems are enabling monitoring climate change and developing strategy to mitigate different effects of climate change on a global scale. Just to give a quick example, again, for those who are more interested to go beyond the theory and look at the concrete project example, this one is coming actually from the German Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Federal Foreign Office, delta analysis, data-driven solutions for proactive capacity building for early action. So the idea is, and this project is gathering not only data sets from the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, but also from Ministry of Defense, from different projects on the ground, development, stabilization projects that should give a signal to the country where the potential crisis is happening. And all of this with the idea to actually enable much quicker and much effective action, right? How can we be aware of these hotspots, potential hotspots in the future, in 1 month, 6 months, 12 months time, to actually be able to properly plan our early action and to design different projects that can be a more appropriate response to what is happening on the ground. Very connected to situational analysis and data analysis, of course, predictive analytics. Again, one element of foreign policy that has been there traditionally, I think always, there were just human forecasters who were doing this work, trying to predict when different crisis is happening. Now what we see is the potential, as Kunal mentioned in his introduction, for AI not to replace humans. So there are still nuances in this prediction work that need the human intelligence and human involvement. But there is a potential for data and data science to strengthen this work, to enable this work in a different way and through different dimensions. And this is this potential for predictive analytics by leveraging not only, this is an interesting element that data science and data in general, big data is bringing to foreign policy work, is not only to utilize historical data, the data that usually countries pick up from their statistical offices, but also to use real-time data to forecast geopolitical trends, to forecast potential outcomes of policy decisions. And when we say real-time data, there is an immense potential out there to use the publications, online publications, newspapers, journals, but also social media network. More and more we see that citizens as human witnesses themselves are posting so much information online, which can usually be a very important signal from the ground, very fast signal, much faster than the collection of data through statistical offices to actually feed these models. With this emphasis, of course, that the entire field is struggling with the challenge of misinformation and disinformation, the information that is posted online that is not correct and true. But again, there is a huge potential of technology to actually flag those instances and help us sift much quickly the real information from the fake one. The quick example, the one that has been developed by academia in collaboration with different actors, the VIEWS Violence and Impacts Early Warning System, which is predominantly used by many governments and ministries of foreign affairs as this resource of research that is project that is actually utilizing data science to generate monthly predictions of up to 3 years in advance, predict global predictions of conflicts on a country level, but also providing the subnational forecasts, which is something that the stakeholders signaled as a need to have predictions on a more subnational level, and the VIEWS is providing this for Africa and the Middle East. The next one, very exciting potential domain where we already see some applications is utilizing specific domain of the machine learning, the natural language processing, to actually cover different diplomatic sessions. Not only negotiations and mediations, but in general, the entire foreign policy system, diplomacy system is full of different meetings, right? We have conferences, events that are happening on a daily level, producing so much information that is sometimes overwhelming for any delegation to be able to follow. And this is where the natural language processing comes to place with its potential to extract key insights from these processes, to create transcripts, to create meeting minutes, to provide different diplomatic records that are at this stage even tailored to specific, or can be tailored to specific needs of specific stakeholders and groups. And we are especially excited about this, and we have our own project to share that Russia will be telling more about. However, we are not alone in this entire ecosystem. So there are other organizations whose work we want to recognize, who came before us and tested some of these tools. So for anybody who is interested to learn more about this space, please have a look at the Diplo Foundation work, one of the first organizations that started exploring potential of different technologies much before the AI revolution came to place, and how different technologies can strengthen the work and be helpful to the work of different diplomatic missions. And this is one of the similar projects where Diplo utilized machine learning and developed this first AI reporting system from the UN meetings. This was I believe just last year, so quite a fresh model that has been developed to report from the UN Security Council debate. And for those in the audience who are not familiar with some of these diplomatic processes, sometimes I'm especially mentioning the Security Council debates that can be hours and hours of sessions, like 7 to 8 hours for delegations that are much smaller. Even for big delegations, this can be quite a lot to actually follow and report on. So this is where we see and we follow the example of Diplo Foundation to use actually AI as a helping tool for diplomatic processes. I will skip this one because Rasha will tell you more about our exciting project with Omdena, an AI challenge that we did together. And I will just mention briefly, I'm not sure we can come back to this if people are interested, just to mention that we picked the specific case study on Global Digital Compact, which is one of the current negotiations that is happening in the United Nations. So it's quite interesting to actually see how this technology can be tested on something that is happening now that can be useful in real time, where we were able to talk with the stakeholders, with countries, with the UN representation of Germany in New York, for example, to discover their pain points in the entire process, the struggles of other smaller governments as well, and then follow this lead to see how the AI can be useful in processing everything that has been collected throughout the Global Digital Compact consultation phase, which was impressive one, very extensive, lasted more than a year and collected a lot of insights, documents, suggestions, recommendations from the entire world. And now the question was how we will be able to process everything that has been submitted in this. There's not a human, even if we have, I don't know how many years, if we can have an estimate, Rasha, how many years we would need to read all of that and to actually be able to go to sift through all of these documents. We still have limitations, how much we can process, how many things, how many patterns are out there that human eye cannot see, where we are excited about technology and what technology can help us to actually do that.
Yeah.
Am I on 10-minute mark, Kunal? I have
You have slightly exceeded it.
Okay, just a quick one for
Yeah.
people who are interested in social media analysis. This is another exciting field that we are exploring now in connection to the German feminist foreign policy. I hope we will be able to tell more about this later in the year. Then the facilitation of large-scale dialogues with populations through the power of artificial intelligence, and many, many more. But I'll stop here and just maybe to do my role as well as a representative of the Data Innovation Lab now to say one sentence about the lab itself, picking up all of these examples as inspiration and recognizing the impact of all of these case studies. The German Federal Foreign Office decided to create the very innovative body inside of the ministry called Data Innovation Lab. And we hope this will potentially serve to other ministries as well to use it as a model to then collaborate with different stakeholders, test some of these tools in the foreign policy work, do this all with the ethical framework, and experiment, test with other organizations. Like I will skip to this one because this is one of the projects, right, that we are proud of. We are doing different AI workshops for foreign policy practitioners, discussing with embassies, with diplomatic representatives, what do they need, what kind of help they need from AI, and then trying to develop this together in collaboration with field experts and with collaboration with this amazing network of data scientists that Omdena is bringing to the table. So this is a little bit from me, and I'm happy to expand more in the conversation. But before that, I'm passing first to Kunal and then looking forward to hearing from Rasha about this exciting project we did together.
Thanks for that, Branka. That was very
Thank you.
comprehensive, and we're glad to have your insights. So let me just take back the screen. Awesome. So let me first introduce Rasha. So Rasha is our Chief Project Officer. She oversees all of our innovation challenges, top talent challenges, like all our grassroots AI movement, and she handles that for over 80 countries around the world. So she is our Omdena's personal project superhero, and we wanted to bring her on to talk about this one in particular. So Rasha, you can take this away.
Thank you, Kunal, and thank you, Branka, for the very insightful presentation, and for giving us, like, I know it's like a glimpses of some of the challenges and the AI solution that can be implemented in the diplomacy. Yeah, thanks so much. Yeah, and hello everyone. I'm really happy today to speak to you about one of our projects that we worked on at Omdena in collaboration with Data Innovation Lab. I had the pleasure to work with Branka and other domain experts on this one with our amazing team. You know who you are. If you guys are watching this, just comment. Yeah. So yeah, without further ado, here is the AI assistant for diplomacy or diplomatic operations. We start. Yeah, I can't see the slide now.
Am I back? Sorry about that. Let me just, I'm
No
not
worries.
sure if my screen is sharing. Let me just share that again.
Sure thing. I can share it if there's a, yeah. So, all right. So yeah, we can start right into start with the problem.
Branka, have you lost Rasha?
Yeah, I think her screen
Okay,
froze.
just give us a second, guys. Let us get all of this.
But Kunal, also I don't see your slides
I can...
moving, so maybe there's oh, Rasha is back.
Oh,
seems like internet disconnection wave is hitting Asia, at least right now. So yeah, let's just wait for Rasha for a second. And in the meanwhile, maybe Branka, you can give us a brief overview of your experience with this project. Maybe just go over the problem statement part of things until Rasha is back.
Sure, and Rasha, it seems Rasha is still here.
I'm back.
Oh,
can you hear
you're
me now?
back.
Oh, yes,
Can you hear me
yes,
now?
yes, we
Can
can,
you
we
hear
can, we
me?
can. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Sorry about
Perfect.
that. Sorry about that. That's just a bit of action, like I have suspense moment. I have everything is good. Okay. So yeah, like the case with all our projects, of course, and all projects, we start with the what we have, what the problem that we're trying to solve. And I think already Branka mentioned one of the basic challenges that diplomacy or policymakers are facing is this large amount of documents and how to balance between different scenarios and having to actually make the right decision when it comes to certain scenarios and all these different policies in different countries and all these information and all these documents. So definitely we found that there's an opportunity there to incorporate AI and especially with the hype of all the LLM and ChatGPT and all these different cutting edge technologies in NLP. So you may wonder what the solution is, and that's what we discover next. Yes. So when we started this project, actually, and I remember this very like it was yesterday. We didn't want to start with a kind of specific solution. Like we didn't want to constrain ourselves with specific tool or specific solution. It's more about, okay, here's the problem and here are the technologies. What are the technologies that we can use? What are some like basic ideas we can start with? And then we let the team innovate and explore and come up with these different ideas to actually help diplomacy workers or and policymakers. So one of few technologies that we came across or we considered is retrieving information from these vast amount of documents. This is something that can be really trivial when using AI tools, but it can be very manual or hard work when if it's done by individuals. Also summarization, which is very powerful, and now it's getting more accurate and giving really of comparing different documents, comparing different policies across different sectors, across different countries. So yeah, we started with that, and yeah, we can go next now.
Can you see the next slide?
Yes.
Awesome.
Yeah. So the case here with AI in diplomacy domain and policy making is AI hasn't found its place yet in this domain. So we had to start with something to actually demonstrate what can be done to our partner and to show that this is something that actually we can give that can give initial results and proof of concept of what can possibly be done. So the team started with prototyping using pre-built frameworks. Here, as an example, was Llama index, was used. And this quick way, a quick demonstration, already gave us great insight about, okay, what is possible. And mainly it was just about getting some, giving a prompt and getting some details or information from the documents. And that made us go to the next stage, which encouraged the team to go to the next stage and now start building our own customized model or pipeline, I would say. And as Branka mentioned, the scope was to focus on GDC or Global Digital Compact. You guys can also research this, but it's mainly a United Nation initiative that the goal is to bring different sectors and different organizations around the globe on one ground when it comes to digital freedom, digital access, privacy, all these things. So that's something also was suggested by Branka, and I think it was a great use case to demonstrate our prototype. There are, of course, the prototype. This is the basic solution, but now how the solution will be interacted with, or how the user will interact with the solution. That's what we will see in the talk about in the next slide. So, as we all know now, putting aside the AI and the cutting edge technology and all these things, we need to also focus on how to make the system user friendly, not too complicated, getting the user really giving them the gist of things and straight to the point. So the user interface we will see in a bit. It's very simple, and it's very easy to use. So this is an example of the MVP the team built. It's a chatbot user interface with most frequent questions and a text box to basically to talk with the chatbot. And it's very human in a very human conversation way. So it doesn't require any technical knowledge or expertise. Yeah. So there are two really cool features that I want to talk about here also that the team take the initiative to build. And this is one of the great benefits or the great bonus of working in an innovation challenge or project in Omdena. You can't expect what the team can come up with next. This is the power of innovation. So this is, as I mentioned earlier, the comparison. So here we can provide, like, let's say 2 documents or 2 policy documents, and then countries or entities that we'd like to compare a certain topic on, and the tool can provide us, can kind of put the documents side by side and allow us to take a look at what are the similarity, what are the differences, what are lacking in one of the policy or one of the entity policies over the other. And it gives another layer or another kind of layer of insight for the diplomacy workers and policymakers. We can see next. This is an example. So here I can explain really quick. This is below. You can see the table, and we have selected 2 entities here, Japan and Microsoft, and we are trying to compare things like chain of density summary, abstract summary, and basically the system is giving us the comparison between these 2 entities on the entities that we, or the subject or the topics that we provided. All right, another really cool feature is the heat map insight. So this is another tool that otherwise would not be possible for individuals, not just diplomats and policymakers, but for any human being working on the environment, to kind of see a holistic view of all their documents and what is the measurement or the distance between them. So we will see in the next slide how it's measuring the distance between the different policies in different countries or entities. And here, the bigger the number, that means that more different they are. The smaller means that are very similar. So you can see how useful this can be, or give like additional insight to the policymaker that, okay, these entities are completely different and the policies are completely different. What are the measures that need to be taken, or vice versa, if it's similar. So yeah, that just also, I thought this was a really cool I don't know, Branka, if you agree. But there were a lot of great work that's been done, and these are one of the things that I think were really nice. It was a nice touch.
Rasha, before we move into the key takeaways that we had from this project and AI and diplomacy as a whole, Branka, if you have anything to add about the project, how it was like working on this project, any insights that you also gleaned from this?
Yeah, well, maybe just to pick up on this one, heat maps or things like that, just for people to understand that we never have designed these details before the challenge starts. And this is for me, the best added value of this collaboration of group of 20, 30, 50 people, because people themselves are responding to the needs, right? And you never know which skills they will bring to the challenge. And this is something that was created just in these co-discussions, co-creations. We were having weekly meetings together. Different teams were meeting separately throughout the week. And then you see from the beginning of the challenge how these things are actually developing throughout the time, and how much innovation is coming to place in only 10-week period. So this is for me the most exciting thing, on top of the fact that people are really increasing their skills. So the AI challenge for us is not only about the product, actually the final product is, I think, the least important for us. The entire process is the the most rewarding one, because people are sharing with each other their skills, their knowledge, and this is where you see that the biggest change is actually happening. And I have so many more, but I'll leave it here, Kunal, and then let's see if people also have some questions. But it's really an amazing and rewarding experience.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, Rasha,
Definitely.
you can take this
Yeah.
away.
Yeah, so I hope you guys already came out to the same conclusions, but we'll go through them anyway. So why are you using AI for diplomacy? One thing it is AI solution now is so easy to integrate. It's easy to integrate with any system, with any infrastructure. It can be customized to whatever domains needs, and it can be also very easy to use. So don't get overwhelmed with all this, tech talk, etc., or terms. It can be designed taken into consideration that it is user friendly, and it provide like a very natural way, and you can converse with it in a very human conversation way, and can provide you with great results. Efficiency, of course. I mean, we are talking about processing thousands, if not more, of documents, and giving you insights, giving you comparison, as we saw, and summarization, in addition to answer questions regarding these documents. And hopefully, as both Branka and Kunal mentioned, the AI is here to empower us humans, and it's not here to replace us. It actually gives us more power to do by doing these manual things, and giving us opportunity to expand and look for more opportunities, and achieve more impact. So this is also what we're hoping to happen with this diplomatic work tool. Yeah, and thank you so much. That's it for me.
Awesome. So now we move on to the more interactive part of our presentation. Any questions that you have, you can go ahead and drop it into the comments here, or on YouTube, wherever you are watching this. And to start us off with, as the people type out their questions in the chat, one of the questions we have pre-gathered was about data privacy. So considering that a lot of diplomatic offices and a lot of foreign policy offices handle a lot of sensitive data, with AI, is that as secure as it would be in other technological databasing? So I think both of you can sort of take up this question. Rasha, you want to go first?
Yeah, sure. I mean, privacy is something, there are different levels when addressing privacy. It starts from data collection, how to make sure that we are actually collecting data, following privacy rules and policies, and then storing this data securely. And even when using the tool, this means that we'll have proper security or authentication system, basically for the personnel and the users of the tool. So yes, privacy is something that definitely should be taken into consideration at each level and at each design unit here.
Branka, anything from your end on that?
Maybe I can just quickly add, I completely agree with Russia, and this is something that organizations are taking seriously as well traditionally, right? And there is this another layer of security now when we are talking about data that we are feeding to artificial intelligence. The German Federal Foreign Office, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, is in the process now of adopting their own AI charter, and including different ethical dimensions and what are the things that we need to be aware of from the very beginning, right from the design phase, not only thinking about this when we finish with building the tool, when we are in the implementation phase. We didn't have time to explore beyond this, but the AI challenge team actually had the AI ethics team, the working group that was just exploring different tools out there, and started implementing these tools in the even in this project, which is just an exploration. It's a challenge, right? It's a prototype. It's not a done product, but just to demonstrate to other ministries and to other stakeholders that the ethics is something we need to start with. And just a quick one in terms of the data privacy for this one. So this project was trained on publicly available data. So all of the information that was collected throughout the consultation process for the Global Digital Compact is publicly available as a common resource, common knowledge on the United Nations website, on the Tech Envoy's office that is actually coordinating the entire process of the Global Digital Compact, with the idea that anybody can go there and actually read transparently what were the recommendations for this specific negotiation. And this is the only information we used, the only data that we used to train the model for this specific AI challenge.
Yeah. And just to add to your point, Blanca, yes, thank you so much. We had a whole section in the report, the team dedicated for the basically the ethics in AI. And there are two things that we make sure to follow during the challenge, which is responsible AI and explainability AI. I think the team did wonderful to follow these two principles in every step during the project. And yeah, thanks.
Awesome. We have a bunch of questions coming in. I think let's go with Yannick's next. Yannick is asking, how do you keep the information in the tool up to date? He gives an example. Switzerland's position on inclusion could change from one day to another. How do you maintain accuracy in such a system?
Yeah, I can maybe touch on that. So again, this wasn't necessarily implemented in our challenge. As Blanca mentioned, it is a proof of concept, but we had done that in other similar projects. So basically, it's about constantly monitoring and getting up to date data. So this means making this data collection and data vectorization, all the thing, processing, storing the data. It's more an automatic way. So our system is always up to date when there are any changes in policies, etc. So that's that's one way to do it.
Maybe I can just quickly add, just to maybe demystify this project a little bit, and just to explain that this is also not we are not advocating for, we are not pretending that we solved all of the solutions, all of the problems in 10 weeks, right? This was a testing ground for us to actually explore the potentials of natural language processing in processing large amounts of data and documents. And this question is extremely important, even in the process of scrapping the documents that were submitted in the consultation process, because we had these situations. Like, this is not a real-time tool now. Rasha mentioned other Omdena projects that are actually doing this much better. So we were quite limited with what has been submitted because the consultation is closed. There's no changing of submissions now. It was a little bit easier for us. But even while processing these documents, we realized that sometimes the stakeholder, not necessarily a country, because different industries were submitting their opinions, private sector, academia. Sometimes they would submit two opinions, and we would have to decide which one are we prioritizing. But even the tool can be useful to actually help us understand what is the difference between the two. However, I have to be honest that we were prioritizing the one that was submitted the latest. If the country or a stakeholder submitted something in the later stage of consultation, we just accepted this as the latest updated opinion. But again, this specific case study is quite different than how this tool would ideally function in a real world. And in that case, Russia covered like how ideally the tool can behave.
Awesome. We are coming close to but we'll take a couple more questions if you guys are fine with that. Awesome. So Jan asks, Jan, your first question sort of answers. I'm just going to take a second one. Where do you see AI for diplomatic processes going from here? Will we see more AI in conflict prevention apart from supporting and reporting and drafting? I think Branka, you can take this.
I think I can take this one. Jan, in fact, I think the applications in conflict prevention were the ones that ministries of foreign affairs and countries were applying first. Because the diplomatic communication was opened the path for AI mostly through the latest advancements in natural language processing, right? When generative AI became so approachable, we started exploring, okay, maybe this example like the AI challenge that we did is a perfect fit, but in fact, much earlier than that, the conflict prevention field, the peace building, and the ministries of foreign affairs started exploring how data science can be useful to help us understand, right, what is happening in the field, and help us understand those, I already mentioned, those red signals, red flags, right? When something is happening in a certain region, when you see that the violence is going up, or when you have a prediction through a model that the violence is going to, or the probability that the violence is going to happen is increasing, so that you can actually start planning your programming, start planning even international development or stabilization initiatives in those countries to help avoid that these conflicts go into large-scale violence. So absolutely, I see a lot of potential current already applications, but also potential applications in the future.
Great. So I will keep this the last question for today's presentation, at least. Frank has asked a fairly comprehensive question. I'll just read it out to you in full because I don't know how to summarize it. The success of international negotiations depends on a myriad of factors. When the number of participants in a negotiation increases, it will become more difficult for AI tools to provide relevant insights. Yeah, in this scenario, when verbal, non-verbal communication, undertones, implicit rules, etc., are important factors in the success and failure of negotiations, could AI be of more than a little help? Before I pass this on to you guys, I would just like to mention how Omdena and a lot of AI organizations out there, this is why we mentioned that human oversight, human collaboration with AI is important. There are a lot of tools out there that can accomplish, like give you insights on some of these factors, right? There are sentiment analysis tools. There are tools that can sort of go through like a video of like a conference and be like, oh, this person was more intrigued by this point. And all these insights can come to you, but actioning those insights, making decisions on those insights should always be the human's responsibility. So that's why we emphasize so much that the human element of AI should always be present. To add to that, Branka, I think you can go next, and Rasha, go. You can go
Yeah,
next.
sure. Yeah, I think this question is it's like apply to all tools out there, or all AI tools out there. So there's no perfect tool. There is no tool that will replace human, as we discussed. It is about keeping human in the loop, and it's about continuous improvement and optimization. So that means monitoring the tool, observing where it's performed the worst, where the best, and keep improving in the points where it's performed actually bad, or and keep improving. I think that's part of the path, and that's how we get create better and better solutions. Yeah.
I agree with Rasha. Maybe just to give to our listener, was it Frank? Sorry, I did not catch a name. Just to give an idea of some of the requests from our policy experts, foreign policy experts in the challenge. That actually went into this direction. So what we try to do here is really the basic application of processing of documents and getting quicker information from what has been submitted in the process. But where this technology can potentially go is also helping us helping different countries to understand, as Kunal said, sentiments, trying to understand which countries are more aligned with others, or which stakeholders can create alliances in certain questions. Or even developing different scenarios in the negotiation processes, and then planning policies depending on these different scenarios. And scenario planning is not new. These things, again, have been happening before, but we are just exploring now potentials of AI being helpful in these processes. However, some things, again, not only that we do agree that we should have human in the loop, but diplomacy is, I think, one of these human endeavors where we are really wondering if in some of these domains the AI can be used at all, right? And diplomacy, I think, traditionally suffers from a lack of trust. It needs a lot of diplomatic effort for countries to keep their international relations, to keep the trust between themselves. So if you put technology as another element in these relationships, are we actually increasing or decreasing that trust? It's a big question. But again, another exciting one that we will see in the future, how will this roll out, and maybe with new generations and more acceptance with the new tools, this changes in the diplomatic sphere as well.
Great. So I think we've gone slightly over time, but in a good way, where we've had a lot of interaction, we've had a lot of questions, and we've had a lot of insights to share. So I will chalk that up as a win. And with that, I will call this workshop to an end. Thank you to everyone who joined. Like, we will keep it, like, I will try to reach out to you to see if you have any more questions you need answered, any more insights on AI that you need, or any potential to collaborate with Omdena or Branca. And we'll keep that in mind. We have more workshops coming your way with similarly exciting topics. We hope that if you liked this one, and we'll see you on the next one as well. From my side, thank you to Branca and Rasha, who were instrumental in making this a success with their expertise in the field. And yeah, that about does it, guys. Thank you for being here, and hopefully we'll see you again soon. We are all in different time zones, so whichever one applies to you, good afternoon, good evening, good night. I'll see you later.
Thank you so much.